What's going on, guys? Cultimush back at it with a $1,000 gaming PC build. If you're looking for a build to game at 1080p and play every game near maxed out 60 FPS, I say near maxed out because there's always anomalies like Witcher 3 with Hairworks that at 1080p, even a 970 can't get the job done, but just about every game you're going to be able to play it really damn well. So let's get right into this with the CPU of the build. I went with the Intel Core i5-4690K 3.5GHz quad-core processor. So this CPU is $230 and it is a K-series processor, so while it's clocked at 3.5GHz, you can take that a lot higher if you get a decent CPU cooler. Even if you decide to get something cheap like a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, you can still get this thing up to like 3.9, 4.1 GHz. And at that point, this CPU is just an absolute beast. No reason to go with an i7 because this is primarily a gaming build. If you're the kind of guy that you're looking to stream as well, maybe check out the i7, but the i5 in gaming is an absolute monster for the price. And like I said, it would pay dividends if you pick up an aftermarket CPU cooler. Even something cheap like the Cooler Master Hyper 212, you can get a lot more performance out of the i5-4690K. For the motherboard, I went with the MSI Z97-Gaming 5 ATX LG1150 motherboard. It's a Z97 board, meaning you can overclock the hell out of your i5. It's got 4 RAM slots up to DDR3 3300 and up to 32GB of max memory supported. It's got RAID support, Crossfire support, SLI support, 6 SATA 60Mbps ports, and it's got onboard USB 3 headers. And also, I know a lot of you guys might not care about it, but I think this motherboard is very aesthetically pleasing and it goes really well with the color scheme of the build, so all around winner for around $140. For the RAM, I went with G-Skill RipjawsX Series 8GB, 24GB sticks running at 1600MHz for $55. 8GB of RAM is perfectly fine for gaming, but if you are thinking about doing things like live streaming, video editing, maybe think about getting 16GB. Otherwise, that is an upgrade that you're going to have the option to go for in the future because the motherboard does have 4 RAM slots. Having 16GB of RAM isn't going to give you a lot more gaming performance, but if you are doing things like video editing, live streaming, think about it. For storage, for mass storage, I went with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB 3.5-inch 7200 RPM internal hard drive for $48. This is going to be your mass storage, $48 for a terabyte's a pretty good deal. Like I said, if you guys shop around, you can find like Seagate 2 or 3 terabyte drives for around $70. So if you guys see something like that, you want a little bit more storage, maybe go for something like that instead. Otherwise, a Caviar Blue 1TB for $48, you really can't go wrong with that. For the SSD, I went with the OCZ ARC100 240GB solid state drive. $90 for a 240GB solid state drive. That deal, in my opinion, is just dumb. I paid like $130 for my Samsung 120GB SSD a couple years ago, and now you can get a 240GB SSD for $90. A lot of people can probably just get by with the 240 gigs and you can eliminate the hard drive altogether, but I think most of you guys do need that mass storage. But still, having the 240GB in the SSD, you're going to keep your OS on there and your key applications. If you play a game like Skyrim and you have a lot of mods on it, it's going to reduce the load times in that game by a lot. I've noticed that Battlefield on a mechanical hard drive, the load times are pretty insane in that game. On an SSD, you're going to get right into your games, and for $90, you really can't go wrong with this SSD. For the video card, I went with the Asus STRIX GTX 970 for around $330. This GPU is an absolute monster at 1080p gaming. Yes, there's the occasional game like Witcher 3 where you can't max out every setting, but if you turn down the settings a tad, 60 frames per second, and the majority of games, Grand Theft Auto 5, Mordor, you can play those games maxed out or near maxed out and get 60 frames per second. You can also game at 1440p if you want, but obviously there's going to be a little bit more limitations at that resolution versus 1080p on this video card. Also, right now, if you buy this GPU, you get a free copy of Batman Arkham Knight. You guys know how I feel about that game, so I won't go too much into it. But for $330, you're getting a beast of a GPU and a free game too, so you really can't go wrong with that. And this Asus model has a really nice cooler on it too, so if you guys want to overclock it, get a little bit more performance out of it, that option is open as well. Moving on to the power supply, I went with the EVGA SuperNOVA Next 750W 80+ bronze certified semi-modular ATX power supply. It's 750 watts, which is kind of high, but I wanted to get a power supply like this, so if you do want to go for a SLI configuration in the future, that option is open. This is also a semi-modular power supply, so that's going to help a lot with cable management. If you're the kind of guy that you have no intention of going for an SLI configuration in the future, maybe pick up something cheaper like a 600W power supply and save yourself some money, because a 750W is more than you need for just a single GTX 970. Finally, for the case, I went with the Fractal Design Define R4 Black ATX mid-tower case. I'm sure most of you guys know about the Fractal Design Define R4. It's an $80 case and it's one of the best reviewed cases on the market right now. It's a great mid-tower case with a lot of room for upgradability options, plenty of space for disk drive, and the case also has really good cable management. So all in all, $80 for a really solid case, and it's very sleek too. This is a really nice looking case and it really goes well with the color scheme of the build. This case also comes in a variety of colors, so just pick the one you want. I think black works the best with the color scheme of this build, but if you want to pick up the white one, go ahead. So thanks for watching this video, guys. As always, leave your requests for future videos and have a great day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.